All right, everybody. Welcome to the Man to Man Podcast, episode 12. We have a very special guest on today, and we will get into that. It is getting closer and closer to the draft. It is also getting closer and closer to, honestly, I don't even like free agency. I think the best part of free agency is like that week before free agency when you can legally tamper. So I really like that. So that's always when the fun rumors come out anyway. So yeah. So Tom, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing fantastic. We got midterms this week, so I'm extra enthused.
I gotta tell you, I didn't even know like they did midterms. Why don't they just do like finals and that's it? I
Well,
only ever took finals, and I mean I only lasted a year and a half, but I only ever took finals.
It depends on the class because a lot of classes either have just like a paper in the middle that they count as the midterm, or they have a test. But I have two technical.
Oh yeah,
midterms.
I do remember papers, but I always like those. Those are easy.
I love papers. I'm so good with papers. But this one class that I'm in, bro, he gave us a paper that was due on Thursday. Remember, I was bugging out about that?
Yeah.
It was due Thursday. Now we have a midterm next class on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. So I got that, and then another test on my law. It's that time of year, and would also be the week that's my spring break, but we don't have it because COVID. So
really?
Now, yeah. So
I know
I'm just extra.
I know my mom's going down to Florida next week because her school's on spring break, I believe, or the week after. She's going next Friday, but yeah. So like I said, we have a very special guest on today. We'll get to her in a sec. I have to ask you, how was your date on Sunday?
Wasn't a date.
Okay. So that means it went good, I guess. All right, cool. So in some news, I may be branching out and starting another podcast, or I might bring a guy into ours. I don't know. His name is Kurt. He is from the same place as I am. He went to the rival high school. He's a little bit older than you. He's like 4 years younger than me. He wants to get into it. So I might do strictly a Cleveland one with him, or I'll have him bring him in here. But I don't know. I'm trying different ways, and we should have a meeting with Randy this week about we should already be making money off our podcast, because have you visited Anchor yet?
I don't know what that is. So like, I don't know how many views we get. I don't know how many views I have on a really big article.
Well, Anchor is just for the podcast. So Anchor, basically you upload them on there and they distribute it out to Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify. So all of our stuff is all up. But you can also click, and a thing for them is you can click and you can advertise for them, and they give you they electronically send you money if you advertise for them. Like just like I would have to do a recording, basically like, this is brought to you by Anchor, blah blah, which I did in school, in my fake school. So right. I'm not hard. So we should be making money. And I did ask Randy about it. I was like, because I'm sure he saw it. And that's immediately the first thing I thought when I saw it. I was like, okay, as soon as we can start making money, we need to start doing this. And he said we're gonna have a call on it. So I really hope that happens in the next few days. If it doesn't, I'm probably gonna send him an email, because I don't know if it's the Anchors through him. Like he paid for it. But I am more than willing to front up like $30 a month for us to be able to get sponsors. Like I don't care. So, but yeah, hopefully we'll have that soon. And we will be sponsored. And then the woman that we're having on today, her agent is going to come on next week. He's also a journalist, and he's going to kind of talk to us how we got in the business, because he's a publicist and a journalist. And his name is Fago Franklin. And he already sent me some of the pro days this week. All I have to do is respond to the NFL. So he's going to help us on and come on and talk to us about how we got to where he was. I don't know how old he is. I think a little bit older than me, probably same age. I don't know. But so he'll come on with that. So anybody who's getting into podcasting, podcasting or writing, definitely figure it out. I know, I don't know if you saw it in the news, like it was earlier last week, and someone famous, but I didn't really know him. They like set out something about like unpaid internships or something like that, and they got roasted online for it. And so it is becoming more nowadays. Like I understood unpaid internships in the past, kind of, and if you can afford it, definitely take them. But like if you can, like ESPN shouldn't be having unpaid interns. in my opinion. Like if you can pay interns any kind of money, then you should be paying them. Because times are different. So that's all I have to say about that, really. But I forgot about that. That came up. But I mean, you're obviously in the very beginning, but I've been trying to do it for the past couple of months. There's a lot of unpaid internships, and if you can afford it, they definitely do it. And it's a good place to build your portfolio. But other than that, it's kind of interesting. It all depends on who you meet, how you network. So yeah, we'll learn all about that stuff next week. And then also on Thursday, Tom, who do we have coming on?
We got my boy Mitch Zalati. He's a lineman for a Butler Bulldogs team.
Cannot wait I love linemen.
Bro, he's so chill. Like I said before, he's a big Cleveland fan. So you guys are really going to
I forgot you did say that. Maybe I'll have Kurt come on then because he's a Cleveland fan too. But yeah, that's awesome. That's gonna be so dope. I love linemen, and you already said like he's chill. That's awesome. Obviously,
we worked on a lot of projects and stuff together, and he's such a great guy. Love Mitch.
How tall is he?
He's taller than me, and I'm 6 foot, so I want to say maybe 6'4".
You're 6 foot? How tall do you think I am?
5'9".
5'7". Close.
Oh, I'm so close.
I'm really short, so yeah. Anything like 6 foot, but like they used to when I played high school basketball and football. I remember I came out my sophomore year and they were like listing me like, what are you gonna play? I was playing corner. I was like, yeah, I'm 5'6", 140, and they're like, okay, we're gonna put 5'9", 180. I was like, you're adding 40 pounds and like 4 inches on me. They're like, people will laugh at this if they see it. You know, I eventually put on muscle. I never got any taller though. So, but the best was when like I'd go to like we'd have basketball games at away games because at home they would list me generously at 5'9", and I was like, or 5'8". You can deal with that because I'm kind of pretty much 5'7" in shoes. But when I go like to a away place and they'd announce me, they'd be like 6 foot point guard or 5'11" point guard. I was like, I mean, that's like half a foot above me. I mean, that's not even close, guys.
I'm not 6 foot.
like I accept 5'8" and 5'9" generously. Like I'm not anywhere near 6 foot. So, yeah. So we'll get into the podcast. Like I said, Jen should be coming on. I emailed Fago. I'm going to do that again. But Tom, why don't you read the? Okay, there she is. Oh. She's on. I think. All right. I think. Is she below us? I thought I heard a pop.
I don't have any control over any of this. So
I know. Okay, so go on. Read the sports history then.
All right. In 1865, we had the 27th Grand National.
We're gonna put the Grand National on like every one, especially this time of year because there's lots of Grand Nationals.
There are a lot of Grand Nationals.
It was the Kentucky Derby before. It was the Kentucky Derby. So.
Captain Henry Coventry won a broad French outside. What the heck? Outsider. How do you even pronounce that?
All right, I'll do it. Just get on my face. All right. In 1985, we had the 27th Grand National. Captain Henry Coventry wins aboard French outsider Alcibiade at 107 odds. That's crazy. In 1904, Australian cricket spin bowler Hugh Trumbull dismisses England batsman Bernard Bosanquet, Plum Warner, and Dick Lilly for his second Test hat trick in the fifth Test victory in Melbourne. Trumbull's final Test.
Why is there just a cricket one now every time?
I don't know. Cricket's awesome.
It's cricket.
But cricket. I'm gonna get into cricket at some point. And then we added something new, some fun facts about Michael B. Jordan. I like him as an actor. I liked him in the first Creed. I didn't really like the second Creed. Michael was considered for 2 Marvel roles before being cast in the terrible Fantastic Four remake. He was considered for Harry Osborn in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then he was considered for Sam Wilson in Captain America: Winter Soldier. That went to Anthony Mackie. The B in Michael B. Jordan stands for Bakari, which means of noble promise in Swahili. All right, so Jennifer is waiting on us to let her in. So, Tom, you ready?
Yes,
all right,
sir.
Well, this is ex-NFL Rams cheerleader Jennifer Cobb. She's going to join us and talk about her cause and Parkinson's and everything. And I'll give you guys a quick brief intro on her when she gets on. So, all right, Jen, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you. How you doing today,
Jen? How you guys doing today?
We're good. We're good.
Absolutely
We're good.
dandy.
Yeah.
I'm doing fabulous. It's 70 degrees in St. Louis today with a cloudless sky. I'm a happy, happy girl.
I wish.
Yeah, it's like 40 here.
Yeah, it's like
did you want the
32.
video to be running, Ben, or you gender? Or do you just want to do the audio?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Well, I just know your video is off right now, so if you want to put it on, you can. If not, it doesn't matter to me either.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Are we recording?
Yeah, we're on. Yeah. All right. So you can go ahead and work on that right now. I'm just gonna kind of give everyone a brief overview of you real quick, and then we'll get into it. Okay.
Super.
All right. Jennifer was born and raised in Chicago, and she started working as a dietitian at the St. Louis Children's Hospital. As an ambassador of the NFL as a Rams cheerleader from their inaugural season when the Rams came from LA, they're back in LA. She has been involved in St. Louis community for a number of years, writing a sports nutrition column for a local paper and St. Louis Men's Magazine, as well as holding a number of fitness titles throughout the country. She has dedicated her life to educating people all over the country on healthy nutrition and fitness. Jennifer became involved in the Michael J. Fox Foundation years after her dad, Ty Cobb, had been suffering from Parkinson's disease. She started a 5K run/walk. I like the walk part. That sounds great. Called Soul to Soul to raise money and awareness for Parkinson's disease. Over the last 2 years, Jennifer has raised more money than I'll probably ever make in my life, $50,000 for the Michael J. Fox Foundation / Team Fox. Her 5K run walk was clearly the best, and it was the only Parkinson's fundraiser in the Illinois Metro East area. Jen, did I miss anything?
Oh, God. Are you talking about me?
Yeah, it was all about you. Yes.
Oh, my dear. Wow, that's pretty cool. Did I really do all of that?
Clearly, so that's why we have you on here. That's why you're coming on our podcast to tell us
God.
how maybe one day we can accomplish maybe something close to that in life.
Oh, you're sweet. I've always had this tenacity as a little girl. I recall learning gymnastics outside on my front yard because I had to self-teach myself. My parents at that time didn't have much money for what we now know is select sports. And I would learn the gymnastics flips and all that kind of stuff. And I would stay out there after school till sunset. And I just wouldn't give up. I ended up making a school and did it. And it was a blast. But I don't know. I think I've just always set my bar to challenge myself. And a perfect example of that is I was driving home from school or driving home from work from Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. And I heard on the radio that Mrs. Frontieri, who is the owner of the Rams, was hosting open auditions. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, there's just no way. I don't have much dance background. But you know what? I'm going to go for it because at least if I do, I'll come out of it having a great time, and maybe I'll make a friend or two. So good for me. So I walked into this room, and there were hundreds of just beautiful women, and they looked amazing. And of course, they were amazing dancers. So what did Jen do? I was smart. I went and stood next to the best dancer in the room, and I followed her, and I mimicked her. And I said, I had her critique me, and I just worked really, 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 really hard. Well, long story short comes to the fact that, at cut after cut after cut, I was one of the top 40. And so the story goes with that, and I think it kind of follows me in life, is you and I and all kinds of athletes and people from everywhere, we are not all the best at everything. But in terms of an NFL player or cheerleader, an NFL cheerleader, you may not be the best, fastest 40-yard dasher, catch the most footballs, and be the best phenomenal dancer. What goes into the selection process with a player and a cheerleader is more than just pure talent. It's the package, how you get along with other players and cheerleaders. Are you coachable? Do you take direction? How are you off the field as an ambassador? How do you represent yourself as a man, as a woman? How do you interact with the public and your colleagues? And so it is. And when you step off the field, you will forever be an ambassador of this brand. And so it's kind of sets a standard from head to toe what Georgia Frontieri stood for. I mean, she chose each one of these women to represent her brand, and it's a legacy that I'll hold near and dear. But it's a forever network. We didn't get paid much, no, not like the players, but there's something that you can't bank, and that's network of friendships. I actually was on the phone with Marshall Falk 2 days ago. Him and I are collaborating, doing some stuff together. I can pick up my phone and call any player and cheerleader. I mean, it's like we're a family, and it's awesome.
Here, cool. I got. Can you see us right now, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I gotta show you something. Hold on.
Hello.
I got my big Marshall Falk signed autograph jersey right here.
That's awesome.
Yes, my uncle.
So cool.
Yes, I've never found a good place to hang it up, even though I really should hang it up. But yeah, it's been with me. My uncle got it for me for a long time.
I will definitely tell him, because we're gonna hop on a call in the next couple of days again to talk some things. But yeah, I'll have to tell him that I was on your show and you're a big Falk fan. In fact, the Super Bowl, he was one of the best catcher. He caught a couple of them. Torrey got a touchdown.
Right.
Got a touchdown. I tell you what, that game, did it or did it not remind you of Rocky Balboa?
I mean,
right.
I mean, all the way down to the last second. It was like a nail biter. And then Warner threw the longest yard. It was captivating. And then at the very end, he pulled it through, and we ended up with the championship. And it's just, I will forever, never, ever, ever forget that. It was just most amazing time of my life to be a representative of the greatest show on turf. And
exactly.
That's amazing.
A lot of hustle on that field, a lot. I mean, Warner just drove it, and they pulled it together. To pull off not one but two championships that we will forever remember and have.
Yeah.
In St. Louis. Even though Kroenke took the game, it's fine.
It's funny you bring that up, because I'm 28, and that is the first Super Bowl I can actually remember, like, watching and everything. I gotta tell you, I was not cheering for the Rams, but I was cheering for the Titans. But that is the first Super Bowl that I remember. And I think I cried after the game because they stopped him short. So, but yeah, that's got to be it.
See that? It's like arm length.
It'll be forever in football lore. So I do have a question I have a lot of questions for you. First one, kind of obvious. Your last name is Cobb and your father's name was Ty. Is that the Ty Cobb?
You got to do the math.
No.
He would be my grandpa. No.
Yeah, I know. I thought so.
Cobb,
I thought so.
Back when my dad was born, Cobb, that generation, it was kind of a typical name. It was, like Smith or Jones. But, it's William Tyrus Cobb. A lot of people ask me about that. And it is a cool name. And I actually, because of that, know quite a bit about Ty Cobb. I kind of joke, my dad's the real Ty Cobb, the nice Ty Cobb.
Yeah, the good one. Yeah,
the good one.
He's the only Ty Cobb that matters.
I know. Ty Cobb, he was a heck of an athlete, but actually people don't know this, but he didn't make his money from baseball. He made his money from a beverage company that we all know now is Coca-Cola.
Yep.
Wow, Tom, that's why I dropped out of school, but okay. So obviously we will talk about football and we'll get back into football a little bit at the end. We have some quiz questions for you. But I'm going to start with this. We need to talk about what's really important. So you're here to talk about Team Gateway if you're to a cure. And I just have to say, Parkinson's was a major factor in my grandmother's death, and you really don't see a lot of fundraisers really out there for Parkinson's as much as you see for other debilitating diseases and such. So I think what you do is fucking awesome. And the only problem is I probably couldn't walk 2K right now, let alone run it. So that's only an issue. Maybe make it like one lap around a track and I'll be good. So your father struggling with Parkinson's clearly made you want to do something about this disease and start fundraising. But how did you become like so involved with it? And like, just kind of give us like what in the beginning, how did it all come together?
Yeah. So my dad was diagnosed right around the same time Michael J. Fox went public with his disease in 1999. And watching him debilitate over the years, I thought, there had to be a way to bring more resources to people to understand what Parkinson's is. And the sister to that is Alzheimer's. And so with Alzheimer's, the brain is affected in terms of memory, but physically you don't see anything. In Parkinson's, it's the opposite. The brain is sharp, super sharp, but physically you see the dyskinesia, the tremoring, the shuffling of the steps, the voice projection. And so the good thing is because FDA approval on medications, they are crossing those over, which is a positive thing. So I decided I wanted to do something fun, get my kids involved, so they can see their mom's legacy is more than just making badass peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I mean,
that's fine with me.
I do laundry and clean and cook, and I'm like, I feel like an Uber driver without getting paid. But they need to be that generation is so philanthropic, but there's not that opportunity. So I started Soul to Soul, SOULTOSOLE. My dad has such a sweet soul, and soul. Parkinson's affects your gait, your step, your soul, your step. And so I started doing it. And over the years, I had raised quite a bit of money for the Fox Foundation. And so Michael honors me at the VIP Awards in New York City for my efforts. Well, after about the third or fourth year, I'm like, you know what? This isn't, I mean, it's fun, but everybody does a 5K. So I'm like, so I presented the idea of bringing fun back into fundraising and doing Find Your Fox, like a dating fundraiser, a laugh off to a cure with Jill Kimmel, Jimmy Kimmel's sister, Michael Winslow, Richard Pryor Jr., who's funnier than his dad. But there's also a connection. Richard Pryor Jr., his dad had MS, which is a brain disease. Jill is knew people that were stricken from Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And so they're all very giving in terms of charity. So we did Laugh Off to Your Cure. And we did just a lot of fun, different kind of fundraisers instead of a big dinner auction where you just raise your paddle and, you write a check and you bid on just different items. It's like everybody does that. Everybody does a 5K. And then something changed. I was introduced to Lonnie Ali, Muhammad Ali's widow. And I met with the Burroughs Neurological Institute in Scottsdale, Arizona. They approached me and asked if I would be involved in their foundation. And many people don't know this, but Muhammad Ali Legacy Care Program, Muhammad's legacy was caregiver support. If it wasn't for his doctors, his family, his friends, the caregivers, the ones that were surrounding him, he wouldn't have been able to have that hope and comfort while he battled the disease of Parkinson's. And so what does that caregiver support look like? It's the one that's behind the scenes cheering those on that never gets recognized. You have a 5K for the diseases. You have a big fancy dinner auction for the diseases. You have fundraisers for the diseases. And guess who's right next door to them? The caregiver, the one that tucks them into bed, kisses their forehead, fills their belly up with food, makes sure their medicine's taken, takes them to and from their doctor visits, and they're exhausted. And so now the insurance companies are recognizing the caregivers as a second patient. They have depression, anxiety, they get exhaustion, especially if you're a low-income senior and you're still working outside the home. And since COVID now, people don't want to put their loved ones in the home. They want to have their sights of their loved ones in their home,
Yeah.
smells of the food, the sounds of them laughing, and memories of pictures on the wall, so they feel comfortable. And so what does that caregiver support look like? And so through the Muhammad Ali Legacy Care Program, we're able to, through telemedicine, bring the doctor to the family room, through support groups they can log into, through food delivery, through nursing coming and helping out. So there's just a lot of things that have gone into this program, and it just made sense because the part of Team Gateway to a Cure, yes, we love fundraising and we love to take checks and give them to the caregivers. We love that. But what we want to do is really be a platform of education, a resource out there that people can come to and hear the stories like I'm sharing with you of how I deal with loving my dad as a daughter, and the stories of my mom and thousands of other caregivers. Because when you get together with your friends, your buddies, what do you guys do? You do talk. You talk dude stuff. Girl talk. I mean, we just and what are we doing? Like, we're sharing our stories, and that kind of sometimes gets us through the day. It's same thing on social media. You post something about something you're going through. The next day you log on, you see what comments. I mean, those are stories that people get, and that's what we need to get back into, is sharing our story in hopes that it will give others comfort and hope while they go through their story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I dealt with some health issues when I was younger. Not really younger, 5, 6 years ago. So I was in the hospital 5, 6 years, like probably over 100 times. So I became to love nurses and everything like that. Thankfully, I'm healthy now. But so you were born and raised in Chicago, correct?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna get to that one later. So you helped out frontline workers during the pandemic, and this kind of goes in with your caregiver thing. What was that like, and like, what did that mean to you? Because during the pandemic, I mean, everyone was out, but you have the essential workers out there, the ones that, like the doctors, the ones that need to be out there. So what made you want to help them, and like, what did you do to help them, and kind of just explain that?
Yeah. So I think you and I and millions of others had a little taste during quarantine of what their life is like every day at home as a caregiver. It's deafening quiet. It's very lonely. You can't go out. It's not like you can pick up a 2-year-old and take him to the grocery store. This is an adult male or female that needs 24-hour care, especially if they're in a wheelchair like my father. So it's very challenging. And so I started doing more of these interviews and podcasts and shows to kind of enhance or try to get others to look at the importance of checking on your loved one.
Yeah.
And just even if it's through technology like you and I are talking today. And so what I found was through a lot of questions from caregiver support programs to caregiver conferences that I speak at was, as an adult child like myself, like you, caring for your loved ones, or a grandparent caring for grandkids, whatever the issue would be, is these adult children had some emotional history they could not let go. For example, why should I help out my dad, man? I'm a father now. I'm trying to grow this company. I
Yeah.
got kids. I got to work. Where was he when I was going through Little League? He never showed up to any of my games. And why should I go to take care of mom? She never showed up to any of my ballet recitals, and now she wants me to stop my life and help her out. Well, where was she when I was
Yeah.
growing up? And so,
Right.
how do you let go of that emotional history and meet the person where they're at? And so, what I tried to encourage was to allow yourself to look at the situation that mother or father back then is not the same person they are going through Parkinson's or brain cancer or concussions or Alzheimer's or ALS or MS, whatever it is. And it's important that you let go of that, maybe journal, give yourself permission to feel that and say, I will not be like that person, and step over that and grow as a better individual, because that person didn't make good choices, but you will. And so that will reap a lot of benefit because your children will see you do that. And so you'll carry on the legacy of what you want to leave your children, that even though grandpa didn't or grandma didn't or so and so didn't, I will.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it almost like I feel like a lot of people my age, 28, younger, kind of maybe, I don't really know you, Tom. You guys are all weird. You're 21, and but like when we grow up, not me necessarily, but people like my age kind of have the feeling that you were talking about, where it's like they don't really want to let go, but also like they want to have their own thing. But so I really understand that. So I actually just came up with this question about myself just a second ago. You were talking about concussions. I don't know if you know any about this at all, but like have they looked into concussions possibly? I mean, it would cause a CTE, but they look at Parkinson's and other brain diseases through concussions?
Yeah. So one of the things I had been exposed to was a new device technology that is being done now. It's actually coming out of Canada. And a good friend of mine, Shane Scott, here in St. Louis, is the owner of it. And what they're doing is they're testing athletes prior to their season, during season, and after season. And what they're finding is a lot of these athletes are misdiagnosed. For instance, if you've been in Little League your whole life to get to high school, and you are a star athlete, and all of a sudden you get hit and you're a little wobbly, and the doctor that's on the field gives you a 10-question review to see if you're concussed, and all of a sudden he says, all right, you're concussed, you're out for the next 4 games. Every scout will know that. Now you're labeled. Now they will forever know that you have been concussed, and now all of these years that you have trained and gotten to that level, you have just been told by a doctor that you have a concussion.
Yeah, I think it's really.
And so what they're doing is they're testing that these athletes don't have concussions. They're being misdiagnosed. So in order to have a true diagnosis of a concussion, you have to have this technology to really scan the brain. Same with Parkinson's. A lot of these GPs are diagnosing patients coming in their door, and they're doing a 10-question questionnaire and saying, all right, you got Parkinson's. So the Parkinsonian community is huge, and they're throwing these medicines out, and they don't even have a true diagnosis of Parkinson's. In order to have a true diagnosis of Parkinson's, you have to have a brain scan, not 1, not 2, but 3 different types of CAT scans, brain scans. And the reason I know that this is because I have worked and shadowed and had a lot of involvement with the doctor, the neurologist, the head neurologist out at Burrow's Neurological Institute. And they have discussed over and over and over the importance of understanding. In order to have a true diagnosis of Parkinson's, you have to go to a neurologist that is trained to get yourself scanned.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really, the NFL has come a long way, I think. And I mean, I remember maybe even 5 years ago where the guys were wearing, I don't think it was near the, like the updates that you're talking about, but like they were wearing helmets that about how your head got hit and like things like that. And I used to think I had never got concussion. I played high school football a little bit and everything, but I can always remember one time we were playing against my rival high school. I returned a kick and I got kneed in the head, and I don't remember anything about that game. All I know is I played the rest of the game, and I don't remember anything. I muffed 2 punts, I guess. I don't know. So it was bad. But
I think it's they're training these athletes to hit, instead of head first, is shoulder, the chest. I mean, there's a lot of tweaks that they're doing, but it's really important that these athletes, and honestly, that these athletes get scanned. But honestly, football is not the highest one out there for concussions.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Exactly. What? Really?
These girls are being dropped, and they're dropped and dropped, and they're doing stunts over and over and over, and they're getting concussed. It's cheerleading. It is the highest over football.
That is
If you think about it, when it's a math problem. So you're looking at how many girls versus guys play football versus cheerleading. Cheerleading is all over. Not that football isn't, it is, but there's a lot more.
Yeah.
Young ladies that are, involved in the sport. So
yeah, that I guess if you look at it from a numbers standpoint, yeah, I that clearly makes sense. I gotta say, I would not have guessed that. I would have said something like hockey or maybe lacrosse, but no, that's surprising. So I have one more question for you, and then I'm gonna let Tom ask a couple questions. So you're talking about how football, and I'm kind of relating this to football, and I'm a football fan, and Tom's a football fan. I'm sure you're a football fan. With the new rules and everything about affecting the head, a lot of fans and a lot of players think that like you're losing the true meaning of football. You're not hitting anymore. So I guess what would you have to say to them about that? Like, well, this is going to cause such and such. So this is why it's implemented, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a domino effect. And if you have safety first, you can go the distance. And you remember, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. It's a long, long road. And, honestly, perfect example. Tom Brady wasn't chose, and he's not a 7-time Super Bowl champion because of his arm. Pure talent doesn't get you there. You know what gets you there? You have a dietitian. You have a emotional coach. You have a trainer. You have amazing teammates. It's a whole package.
Yeah,
and
it's
and he does it. He does it right. It's consistency is the key, and you can't expect to be on the field and the first year go to. I mean, maybe you do. I mean, it's very few go to the Super Bowl, but it's consistency. Look at the stats. Look at the guy. He's been in the NFL for a long time. And he is perfected. He's been consistent. And he's probably been doing the same routine. I'm putting the black and yellow and green socks on every single game. I mean, and it goes to show you that it's kind of like life. When you raise a kid, you're not going to raise a kid overnight. It's consistency. It's giving them the wisdom that to get them to fly away and to be the best individual young adult, so they can perform in life like you want them to. And so, going back to any athlete or anybody that wants to engage and get involved is, we live in this instant gratification society. It's 99 cents for a supersized fries and, a soft drink. You live on Instagram and Snapchat and, everything's instant. I want it now. It doesn't happen that way. And we have to put in the work. You have to give yourself permission to allow yourself to fall 1,000 times in order to get yourself up and say, you know what? I am who I am today because of all the falls, because of all the mistakes. I love making mistakes. I love it because I know on the other end of it, yeah, of course it hurts. Yeah, of course. I'm not perfect. I'm not God Jr. I don't have all the answers. But what I do have is a really, really good network of people around me that if I don't know the answer, that's my go-to. Those are the people I go to. A perfect example, Michael Jordan. Great, amazing athlete, right? He stepped off the court, went to baseball. I am really good friends with his hitting coach, Mike Barnett. Many people don't know this. After he was done practicing, every player went home. You know where Michael went? He went to the batting cages for 2 hours every single day after practice. And he hit with Coach Barnett. 2 hours. And he just hit and hit and hit. every single day after practice.
Yeah, that's
It wasn't his talent, but
wanted it to
tenacity
be.
pushed him. I mean, he was a driven. Michael Jordan didn't start off with pure talent. He had something, but then over time, just like Michael Phelps, over time they polish it, they coach, they have an emotional coach, they get somebody in there. This whole team work together to drive them to be the best possible person they could be. And I think that goes for anything in life, whether it's athletics, whether it's a job, whether it's a family man, whether it's persevering to try something. Maybe you're not the best dancer, but yet you still go in and you end up making the team like a Jennifer Cobb. So that's
exactly. I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know if you saw me and Tom were like laughing and moving our heads around when you were talking about Tom Brady. We're Browns and Jets fans. We don't like Tom Brady, but so it's tough to hear how good.
I do.
It's tough to hear how good he is.
That know him personally and on and off the field. I'm just looking at in terms of talent.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan, Michael Phelps. Even the women athletes out there. I mean, there's amazing athletes, but you don't get to that level by just pure talent. And there's all this behind the scenes that goes in to polishing that talent to make them at that level, that caliber that they're at, which, is great.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Tom's got some questions.
I do. I'm going to bring it back towards the fundraising aspect, if you don't mind. So I'm sure that, with the drive that you have and the effort that you put into everything that you do, you probably could have done this yourself, but who really helped you get the fundraiser up and running? Like who was there with you from the ground floor up? Right. I should have guessed.
Yeah, I have great people in my corner and people want to help. And I don't know. When you meet them and you ask, a lot of people are afraid, I don't want them to say no. Okay, what's the biggest fear? They're going to say no.
I've been told that more times than I think any other piece of advice that I have.
Wow. Okay. Is that the worst? All right. Well, I'm going to do it.
Right.
So I'd make, relationships and connections, and I would make friends, and I'd say, hey, can you go out and help get, see if you knew anybody that would help. And this is when I need water. I need bagels. I need, so it all worked out, and it's just those were amazing events. And I'm just really proud that I was, able to pull it off.
So where can people go to donate and get involved with this? We're
relaunching our website in the next couple of weeks, www.teamgatewaytoacure.org. And you can go on to the website, get more information about Parkinson's, the symptoms, caregiver support, what that looks like. We always accept a donation. Of course, that will go to a great cause for caregivers in the community to help give and assist what they're going through. And then also the documentary movie, you can watch the trailer. It's about Dr. Jerry Medoff, who became world famous years ago when he invented the cocktail of HIV medicine, which was a huge pandemic back then. Now it's COVID. Unfortunately, Dr. Jerry Medoff passed away of Parkinson's disease. And so now the documentary kind of unfolds a race for another day, what it will look like for another day until we do have a cure like AIDS. Now they take one pill and live a normal life. So what will Parkinson's be 20 years from now? The way
hopefully cured.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully non-existent.
So a race for another day in the life of a person who has Parkinson's is a caregiver, giving them hope and comfort while they go through the day, while they go through their weeks, years in life. That's the race.
That's awesome. So absolutely, I'm going to have you guys do a little trivia off in a sec, but I just want everyone to know. So go to teamgatewaytoacure.org to either donate or get involved. And we also like to say to you, if you want to come on whenever you want, and just plug whatever you want, absolutely, we're always open. If you ever, he lives in India, or you live in New York, don't you, Tom? And I live in Cleveland. That's gross. And I live in Cleveland, so if you ever are around here or want to fundraise around here, just let us know.
Yeah,
absolutely. We are definitely. Absolutely want to get involved. It's definitely a really, 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 really good cause. So our whole site and everyone is dedicated to it. But now the real question is, are you ready for the trivia?
Oh dear.
This is before Tom was born, so he might not know this either.
Oh, okay.
Oh, don't do that.
Okay. All right. So I got 5 questions. Okay, who had the most passing yards in the NFL in 1995 when the Rams came back, or when they went to St. Louis? Was it John Elway, Warren Moon, Drew Bledsoe, or Brett Favre?
Drew.
I'm gonna go John Elway.
Drew Bledsoe is correct. Wow, Tom, 1-0 Jen. That's awesome. Okay. I'm only asked 3 questions. All right, this one's easy. We already talked about this. Who did the Rams beat in the Super Bowl in 2000?
The Titans.
We just talked about this.
The Titans, yeah.
Titans.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there you go. All right, and then in 95, who won the NFL MVP? He would go on to win 2. This would be his first of 3 straight.
Oh.
I said him in one of the earlier questions.
I'm going to go with Brett Favre. That's my answer.
Oh, I guess I'll go the same.
All right, Jen wins because it was Brett Favre. So you get 2 questions to 1. So, like I said, that's all the questions we have for you. Like I said, you are more than willing to come on whenever you want. I have Fago's contact information. He talked to me, and he's actually gonna come on next week with us, and we're gonna ask him about his being publicist and everything. But like I said,
Thank
go
you
ahead.
so much for having me on. www.teamgatewaytoacure.org. People can reach out. I answer all my emails. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So Jennifer Cobb, Team Gateway to a Cure.
What's your Twitter?
Oh my gosh, I don't even have it memorized.
Wait, let's look. Let's see if I can find it just on the search bar here.
Oh, I'm lucky to figure out where I'm going to be tomorrow.
Tom's all over Twitter. He knows what he's doing.
Twitter
right.
is Jen. I think it's okay. Where am I here? Team Gateway to a Cure at Jen L Cobb 3. Jen JENLCOBB 3.
Awesome. So we will definitely when we post this on the website, which will be done right after this, and then we'll also post it on Anchor, which is so it'll be spread out everywhere. It'll go on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere. It goes to all the podcasts, wherever you download them. It goes on. And like I said, if you ever want to come on again, or you have some, like if you want to do a T-shirt maybe or something with us or something in the future, just let us know. We are more than willing to help out. I know that like a T-shirt does a lot of. I mean, I know online people sell T-shirts that go to a cause and it does really well. So if you ever want to get involved or help and have us get involved, just let us know. I will send. Fago has my email. But so he can give it to you if you need it, and along with Tom's. And like I said, Jen, this was awesome. Can you just tell people Can you tell us one more time where we can find you and how to donate?
Yep, www.teamgatewaytoacure.org. God bless you guys.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, have a good night. All right, that was awesome. That was good. We got some good stuff there. I really hope she. I would do a T-shirt.
I love T-shirts.
But I felt so bad when she was talking about Tom Brady, and I started
just
doing
sitting here laughing, bro.
I started doing it. And I wasn't even looking at you. I was like, I hope Tom looks professional. I look up at you, and you're like, oh God. I just wanted to be like, you do know also that we know Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback ever, but we also still make fun of the fact that he has all those things because that's the only thing we can bring him down with.
Bro, I was just sitting. I wasn't even thinking about any of that. As soon as you said Tom Brady, I just went into like an entire like relive, like deja vu moment of all the shit that we've talked on Boston since we started here, and I started dying, bro.
The interview was great. Like Jen is super cool. I'm
nice.
Sure she's gonna want to come back on. But yes, when we were very unprofessional when she started talking about Tom Brady because we were just not talk about anyone else. But,
she literally picked the one person that could break us. I mean,
I will give it to her. She switched to Michael Jordan, which made me a little bit happier. But when she was talking about Tom Brady, so I apologize to them. We listen to this. We are laughing at that, but and it's true. He's the greatest of all time. We're not laughing at you, but we just suffer because Tom Brady. I've suffered my football fandom for the last 28 years. At least 20 years of it has become because of Tom Brady. So
Tom Brady's been in the league since I was alive. Like, just to put it in perspective, like I have not known the NFL without Tom Brady.
The Rams won that 2000 Super Bowl. Tom Brady won his first the next year.
Yeah, and he got drafted in '99. Started, I thought, in the '99 at some point, maybe 2000. But like, there has not been a time where Tom Brady has not been in the league, and I have been around. Like,
I just thought about that. He won the 2001 Super Bowl and the 2020. That has to be the hugest gap. 20 years since you're between two of your Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. Well, like I said, that's awesome for Jen. We look forward to getting in touch with her. And like I said, Fago is going to come. Her agent and her publicist. I don't know if he's an agent, but he's her publicist, and he's going to come on sometime next week. Like we said, Thursday though, we have big old linemen. So. I'm very excited about that, but definitely everyone, when we post this online, we'll put all the links everywhere. We'll put her Twitter. Definitely go and donate because there are Parkinson's fundraisers out there, but there's not as much as you think they are. There's a lot of ALS, which these are all terrible things, but there's just not as much for Parkinson's. And I think it's a really good cause. And like I said, I haven't dedicated my life to anything ever. She dedicated her life to curing Parkinson's, so we at least can help out on that. So definitely 100%. Everyone check that out. Like I said, we'll probably be in touch with her and she'll probably come back on at some point. But for now, we are going to get back to our free agency talk in the NFL, which is good because Tom Brady is not a free agent, so he cannot possibly come up. Even though the Bucks will come up, so that's
yeah.
So I'll let you start with the AFC West. We got the Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders. Let's do the needs first, and I'll do my needs, and we'll get into some picks. I will say, out of any conference in or division in the NFL, it seems like the West needs more offensive line help than any other conference or division.
That and secondary, because I literally have 3 out of the 4 teams need secondary help.
I was going to say I probably do too.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. You have all 4. You have all 4 needs secondary. So
the way I look at free agency and the draft is different because in free agency I look at like if someone's good out there, you should still go get him even if it's not a huge need. But
right.
So, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to start with the top and we'll work our way down because I think that's more fun. So if we're looking at the Chiefs, runner up this year. I mean, everyone saw what happened in the Super Bowl. I mean, they need offensive line. And I know that they were missing their 2 starters, and both of them were Pro Bowlers. Because I think Eric Fisher was out with a Achilles or
Eric Fisher was a Pro Bowler this year?
He's been a former Pro Bowler too.
I think he's only been one time, but yeah, he was out, and then obviously Mitchell Schwartz.
Yeah, who opted out. Yeah, so you're missing your 2 starting tackles. Then there was another injury in the game, so you're playing with a bunch of guys not playing normal positions. Like, dude, it was like
you know what exactly like it was? It was exactly like the Browns game versus the Steelers in Week 17, where the Browns had no coach and like nobody. So yeah,
it was just chicken with the head cut off. So I understand it looked a lot worse than it actually is, but like they still need offensive line help. I don't care even if you do get those 2 guys back and they're fully healthy,
you still need it.
You still need the help there.
I don't think offensive line is the most important position of football. I think that's clearly the quarterback, but offensive line depth is probably the most important thing, maybe, and defensive line depth. But I mean,
Right.
like you saw, as a Browns fan, I saw it at the end of the year. I mean, Wyatt Teller was out, and then the guy who started for Wyatt Teller got hurt, and they brought in a guy versus the Steelers who was on the practice squad a week ago, and it just signed like a week contract,
A week-long deal.
And then Baker talked about it after the game, and he was like, I met that guy in the locker room when we were coming out, and he stepped in and played. He played guard for us. It's like his name was Dane, and but he did a great job. But yeah, I mean,
I love that.
It was weird. So, but yeah, obviously offensive line. So go on.
Yep, offensive line, then defensive line. Not because it's bad. I actually think that the Chiefs have one of the better duos on the defensive line in the league, but they're getting a little bit older. Is one of them up for a contract? I don't think so because I didn't see it, but I could be wrong.
I don't, I mean, no, they're definitely, they would have, all their offensive linemen, or any of them to note would probably be somewhere where we'd have seen them already.
Yeah. So Taco Charlton and Tano Capasagon, I think, are their other two starters. Along with Alex Okafor, who's the third guy that like rotates in, other than Frank Clark and
Frank Clark and D Ford. I don't think D Ford's on the Chiefs.
I thought he signed with the Chiefs.
I think he signed with someone else last year. Because I don't think he's on the Chiefs.
Then who am I thinking of? Frank Clark and
Chris Jones.
Chris Jones, that's right. I was
he's
thinking
defensive tackle. Yeah, he's defensive tackle. But yeah, they're both locked up.
They're locked up. They're good, but everyone else on the defensive line is a free agent, so they really need to re-sign some guys. Now I know that's not like on paper that's only a problem. Yes and no. Like you guys could get some more help, so it's not just two guys. If you can get 4 super solid defensive linemen and only rush 4 to get pressure, you can have all of your linebackers drop back in coverage and make it impossible. It's like when the Jets went to the back-to-back AFC championships. It was solely because the defensive line was amazing and Darrelle Revis was locked down. So if you get that, and then I didn't really have a third one for the Chiefs, so I said potentially a wide receiver 3 because you have Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman. They're really like speedsters and they fit the offense well. But Sammy Watkins a free agent, and you really do need a guy who can go up and get those really high balls in the end zone. Even though a lot of them are going to Travis Kelce, it'd be more of a luxury thing. So you said not to read.
It's definitely, I would say it's definitely more of a luxury. And you know what sucks? Well, it doesn't suck for the Chiefs. I'm happy because I would like to see the Chiefs come back to earth a little bit. They aren't going to be able to find that offensive tackle help or offensive line help they might find a guard late, maybe if Wyatt Davis sticks around. But they probably won't be able to help that. And the thing that sucks is they're going to get like the 31st pick or whatever, and they're still going to take someone offensive. They're going to take like another wide receiver. They're going to take like Kadarius Toney from Florida.
I actually started working on my mock 2 last night, and I don't have Tony making it there.
Why? Because I saw someone compared Kadarius Toney to Justin Jefferson this year, and they basically said Kadarius Toney was better in college, and so they're like, so he's clearly better than Justin Jefferson. So it was just like very odd. Like,
yeah, no, I was very odd. It's not like I have him going in the top 10 or the top 20. I mean, I have him going like 3 picks, I think, before the Chiefs. I think I have him going 28 to the Packers. But like, it's not a lot. You know what I'm saying? But it's what
no, I got you. Yeah.
So you said not to read the perfect pickups, though, right? You said you're gonna go over your list.
Yeah, then we'll go all the way down through the list, and then we'll go through team by team down there. But I mean, there's no really reason to read it. I said O-line and secondary as well. They made a big mistake last year, not re-signing Kendall Fuller.
Yeah, especially with the season that he had on Washington. I mean, he balled out,
and he had a good first year with the Chiefs too. Like, that the more that I think about that, I mean, especially in the slot, that could have really helped them. But like I said, I have O-line, secondary as well, and linebacker, just more for luxury as well. They could find a linebacker late.
Well, you got to remember they had an opt-out or two in the linebacking core, because I know Willie Gay Jr. opted out, and he's a very big part of that defense. So again, I agree. It's another luxury.
Yeah. So, all right. Then I'll go next one, and then you can go Broncos as well. So for the Broncos, I put quarterback in there. I'm not completely out on Drew Luck, but if they can trade into the top 10 what pick do they have?
I think they have 9.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have 9.
If they do have 9, then that'd be perfect for them to get. Or it wouldn't be perfect. I think Lance will last that long. I think Lance. Well, I'm getting into something else that's on the thing later. Okay, but I think they would be a major if they're 9th. That would be a major spot where either you have a guy like Lance. Wilson, no way Field doesn't make it that far either. Or you have Lance or a guy like Mac Jones, who could, if you really wanted to them, they could sneak into the top 10.
Right.
But I don't know. I'd give Drew Lock. I'd get like some help otherwhere and then give Drew Lock a year and then pick another one. But I also had for them wide receiver. Jerry Jeudy had a pretty good year, but it wasn't incredible. And then I obviously have edge because they need – at some point, maybe not this year, but they're going to need to, if they ever want to be, okay, that sounds dumb. If they want to get successful again, they need to replace what they had when Von Miller was young. That works for them.
Right.
They need a young, I mean, if they would get a younger Von Miller, like if they got Shaq Barrett, and then have Chubb and Shaq Barrett right there, I mean, that'd be pretty damn good.
Right.
And then I think I have, they could use corner as well.
Yeah.
Do you have corner?
Corner is my number one need for them. I mean, it was they were atrocious.
I mean, I've seen most mocks have them taking either Surtain or Farley. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one I think they're going to address in the draft. Maybe they'll get another guy, but I'm very not concerned, but I'm questioning why you have Whiteout on there, because I actually think that they have. Even though no one's a superstar quite yet, I think they have a lot of young talent at wideout. Between Jerry Jeudy, who could turn into a true one, Tim Patrick, I don't think they're going to let go. Deshaun Hamilton, KJ Hamler, and then you got to remember Cortland Sutton missed the entire season after week 4 because he tore his ACL.
That makes him injury prone. Though. See,
he had one injury. It's not like he has a history of tearing.
I know. This is. I have 2 things. Okay. When someone tears their ACL, and it's not fair, and I don't necessarily agree with it. I can't think of anyone that's ever really returned to their true form.
Adrian Peterson.
Not his true form.
Adrian Peterson. He came back from a torn ACL and another ligament and ran for 2,000 yards and won MVP.
Maybe
how is that not true form?
I'm sorry. I'm just saying with how like
it's not common. I got you.
Aware injury, like how aware athletes are, kind of what Jen was talking about with concussions too. Like how aware athletes are of their own injuries. Like I don't know. He just it's right or wrong, but I look at Cortland Sutton and I say yes, obviously good receiver. Hopefully he comes back, but there's a red check, like there's a red star above it. Like,
yeah, no,
you gotta watch that.
It makes sense.
And I honestly think other than everyone could use a wide receiver.
Yeah,
you could wide receiver for any team.
Yeah, wide receiver could be just one of those positions.
Because if you think about it, you either need 4 reliable receivers or 3 reliable receivers and 1 reliable tight end, basically. So
yeah, you need 4 guys to catch the ball if you need. Anyway, back to my little list. I had corner as their number 1, but I feel they're going to address that in the draft. Safety, because Justin Simmons technically hasn't been signed yet. So I don't know if you saw they're probably going to franchise tag him, but
I saw they're going to franchise tag him, which is bullshit. I hate that. I mean,
but it's still a need, and you could get a secondary guy like to play free safety. Is he free or strong? I don't even remember.
He's free, and then Kareem Jackson, I think, is their strong.
Yeah, but he's a free agent, and I thought he was listed as a corner.
He's old too. He's like 33.
Yeah, so they're probably not bringing him back. So you need a safety. either way. And then my third biggest need was quarterback because I'm in the same boat as you. Kareem Jackson has a club option for $11 million this year, and he's 33. He's not coming back.
Yeah, so I guess what I will say about drafting in the 9th position, I don't think Trey Lance or Mac Jones should be taken in that spot. But I also don't know how good next year's quarterback class is going to be. Like, I've tried to look into it, and a lot of people have who's going to come out? It's JT Daniels.
Everyone's like super, super high on that Sam Howell kid from North Carolina.
I like him because I like North Carolina, but
I know you do.
So I don't know. I would think that Sam Howell will probably be. I would be surprised if there was a number 1 pick taken as a quarterback next year, unless someone like
they
Zach
say
Wilson
the Lions are going to take him for Sam Howell. This is probably old because now they have Jared Goff, but Sam Howell, Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma is coming out.
Spencer Rattler. Okay. Before we even, I'm just going to say it. Spencer Rattler is going to have a worse NFL career than Braxton Miller.
Agreed.
Spencer Rattler is about 2 inches taller than Kyler Murray and not anywhere near as athletic and not anywhere near as good at throwing the ball. So I've said it about Murray. I love him. Once he gets to age 30, it's going to be different for him. So,
agreed.
And then, so I mean, that's the same with that. So
then also Kedon Slovis, the kid from USC, Slovis.
Kedon Slovis.
Kedon. I was trying to say
yeah.
Kedon.
I see Howell, Walter Football. Yeah, you on Walter Football?
No, I was on Sportskeeda.
I got Walter Football. Hey, I'll give you some. I got some good news for you. They have Lions taking him, and then they have the Texans. This is stupid. Oh my God! Do you see who it is?
Yeah.
That guy sucked at Oregon. He was so bad.
On Walter Football?
Tyler Shaw?
Oh, okay. I was looking at a different one from a different writer. That's my bad. I saw Sam Howell.
No, I saw Sam Howell as 1.
Tyler Shaw.
No. Sam Howell is 1. I'm saying Tyler Shaw is 2. He's 2. Wow. I mean, he was he was god awful at Oregon this year, and it's not like Texas Tech has Cliff Kingsbury anymore.
How good?
But I do see. He was terrible last year. That's why he transferred. But I do have some good news for you. I have some good news for you in the 2022. It looks like you guys are going to pick up Derek Stingley, which would be dope. I love Derek Stingley.
Oh, he's so good. I would love that.
He actually had a really bad year this year. He got hurt a couple of times, but he had a really bad year. But yeah, no, I mean any defensive back from LSU, I am always open to, like, whatever.
Yeah, they work out.
So why don't you go on to the Chargers? Because I think the Chargers are an interesting team.
I'm going to the Raiders because the Chargers finished last in the division. I was doing it from top to bottom division.
The Raiders are always going to be the worst. If the Raiders don't make the playoffs, they're always the worst team in that division.
Well, not this year. So the Raiders, surprise, I have them. Their 2 biggest needs are cornerback and secondary or safety because their secondary was complete garbage. It was just absolutely awful. And they need a defensive end because Keelan Farrell does not make the cut. He's just not worth the pick. Clellan, whatever. I don't even care. He was terrible. He's garbage, so I don't pronounce his name right.
Kurt is getting me angry right now. He's texting me and saying that he's definitely Rattler's definitely gonna be better than Braxton Miller. Shut up, Kurt. Okay. I'll go with the Raiders too. Yeah, I have secondary edge. I mean, I hate saying – I'm getting sick of saying needs for them. We should almost be at the point where we're just saying what players they should get because, like, the Raiders aren't going to go out and sign a guy like Joe Thuney, who would be great for them. Right. They'll go out and sign a 34-year-old Trent Williams for 7 years, $300 million.
Look, it'd still be a good pickup because I think Trent Williams is still very good.
No, I agree. I agree. I have one of their fits. One of their fits I have is Trent Williams.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So you said you had O-line and what else?
Secondary and edge. Yeah, because like you said, Clelin Ferrell's not really doing it. Which I still can't believe he took him 4th overall. That was so stupid.
4th, and then they took Damon Arnett 20th
because he. I mean that's why the Raiders are last. They suck because their coach. There's not a coach. Their coach is not a coach, and their GM is a scout for Bleacher Report. Mike Mayock.
God. I know Mike Mayock. I love Mike Mayock's mocks, but can't get behind him being a GM. He's garbage.
He's a scout.
So you would think they would make the right picks if he's a scout and a very good one. I mean, but now he's taking Ferrell at 4 and then took Damon Arnett 20th the next year.
Henry Ruggs went
for he was 11. No, 12 because we were 11. Yeah, Henry Ruggs went 12.
So CeeDee Lamb went in the top 10, right?
No, he went 21-20 to the Cowboys.
So they took Ruggs as the first one, or was it the Broncos?
First overall receiver. Judy went 14. I'm pretty sure my numbers are right.
Like I love playing with Henry Ruggs in Madden because he's a cheat code basically. But I don't know how you as a scout look at Henry Ruggs versus Jerry Jeudy. I can see a little bit, but versus CeeDee Lamb and not think CeeDee Lamb was better. I don't understand.
So Ruggs went 12, like I said. Judy went 15, not 14, and Lamb went 17. And Justin Jefferson went 22. Jalen Reagor went 21. Brandon Ayuk 25. T. Higgins 33. Pittman 34. I mean, there were a lot of good receivers in this class.
That's why I said it.
They picked probably the worst one this year, the one that had the worst season. But the first one. Anyway, we can move on to the Chargers now.
I think the Chargers are very interesting because I think if they made a couple of the right moves, they could be more close to a serious threat to the Chiefs in the division. But as always with a good quarterback, a good young quarterback, I mean, you need someone out there to protect him. Who is our left tackle? I don't know. It's not anyone good.
Forrest Lamp?
I don't know. It's not anyone good, so that's why they need to. Okay, so question: who would you rather have, Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow?
I think you asked me that, and I think I said Burrow.
Okay, good. You're not an idiot.
I mean, I love Justin Herbert. He's amazing in every facet, and like I was looking at it from the question of like not having Joe Burrow have his knee destroyed, but like Herbert looks legit. I'll say that much. But I just think Burrow is going to have a better career overall.
He looks like a twig. But okay, that's whatever. And then I had the Chargers. They could use help in the secondary other than – first of all, they need to find a place to play Derwin James. And second of all, I have receiver like I have for most. He needs to get healthy, but they need to figure out – like to me, the Chargers are playing Derwin James – where Isaiah Simmons should be playing.
I agree.
In a different role. Like he's more like, but they don't, and they use more of him like as a free safety. Okay. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, their secondary needs help. But like I said, if they pick up some of the right pieces, with Herbert, and going forward, and Melvin Gordon and Eckler.
They don't have Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's on the Broncos.
Whatever.
They have Eckler.
Whatever. Go on.
So I have a cornerback as well. That's their number 2 for me.
They could always use a. I forgot about this. Melvin Ingram is getting old, so they could use a right end.
I agree with that. We had basically the same top 3 needs: O-line, corner, and instead of a wide receiver, I had a tight end. But basically the same thing. It was just another threat that could also block because I actually like a bunch of the receivers for the Chargers. They're just getting a little older, like Keenan Allen. Mike Williams is actually starting to really come into his own.
I like Mike Williams. Mike Williams
they
a lot.
have two rookies who didn't have terrible first years, I guess. They weren't great, but they were good enough. So
it would be sweet if the Chargers could pull off a trade for Nick Bosa.
Get both of them, yeah.
and then just get like two Ohio State defensive tackles, and then two Ohio State corners. Just make it all Ohio State.
Go for it.
So you can start. You can start with whoever you want for your fits.
All right, so we're gonna go up to the Chiefs again because we'll just work down for their offensive line.
I would like to say this before we get started with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to be another team like they were kind of last year, and how Tampa Bay was this past year. I think they're going to get a lot of interest in free agency.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, which obviously makes sense. Yeah, which makes sense, but they just have to make the actual right moves, not just the flashy moves.
Right. So the Chiefs are currently, I think, 4th in least amount of cap space. They're at minus around 20 million. So they don't really have a lot of leverage. They're going to need to sign older guys that'll help them win now and kind of restructure after that. So for their offensive line fit, Alejandro Villanueva from the Steelers, I think would be a really good fit in there because he plays interior line. So it doesn't really clash with the two guys that they have that are very good. And he'll be a nice cheap option that'll still provide them a little stability in there. For their defensive line, I could see him taking a very, very cheap shot on Jadeveon Clowney. Just because, like I was talking about earlier, you just want to get a third or fourth guy in there to maybe make a play or two just to get some added pressure. And then for my wide receiver 3 that I had brought up and I was kind of talking about, AJ Green is a free agent, and he is exactly the type of person that they need. Because you can have Hardman and Hill just do their crossing routes and run wherever and do whatever they're doing, and then have AJ Green go out there to go get the high balls. So,
I thought the same thing with them, except now with AJ Green. I didn't know they were in that cap space hell, which it makes sense. But I had Allen Robinson, but whatever. That's why I don't pay attention to the cap. So I have for them. I really just have 2 for them. Peterson, Patrick Peterson, I think would be. You should be able to get him for cheap on a year or 2 deal.
Right.
And then if they can find money to get Von Miller, which I don't know if they can, because Patrick Peterson's definitely going to take a pay cut, and Von Miller's definitely going to take a pay cut, but will not be as big of a pay cut as Patrick Peterson's.
Yeah, because he's still focused on getting some of that money off.
Yeah. And then I guess I'll go next. Who we do, next is the Broncos.
Yeah, that's who we went with.
So,
I hate the fact that we have the same person for one of these positions. I hate that.
If I were the Broncos, I've said this a million times. I think about every team. Fitz should go play for him. Fitz would be great. I love Fitz. Basically, how you bring Fitz in without completely killing Drew Lock is you do exactly what the Dolphins did this year.
Yep. That was exactly the point I was going to make.
You just do exactly what they were doing this year. And then by the time the draft starts or the season's over is coming to an end, fans will eventually realize that Drew Lock isn't the guy, and they'll just forget about him and they'll be all focused in. It's almost like you bring in Fitz as like a mirage.
They're like, he's here.
You pay attention over here. He threw 300 yards. Don't pay attention to the quarterback we drafted in the first round.
Again.
Yeah. Speaking of that, they've had some bad draft picks. Drew Lock and Chad Kelly. Chad Kelly, Brock Osweiler. The list goes on. Paxton Lynch.
Who was the other kid that they drafted that was the same? Didn't they draft like 2 quarterbacks in like the same draft? There was Paxton Lynch. And there was
I see number 15. Ryan
Trevor Simeons. Trevor Simeon.
I was thinking about Ryan Mallett. That's what I was thinking of.
That was like a while ago, bro. I'm saying they drafted they drafted Simeon and Lynch in like the same draft. And
they drafted Lynch like 15,
20-ish.
14. No, like what year? I think it was like 14.
Oh.
I don't know. It wasn't because it was after Peyton Manning retired.
Yeah, it was after he was drafted in 16.
Then they must have won it in 15. Or I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
All I know is
all right, go on. So yeah, I have Fitz. And I think Mike Hilton would be good. Obviously, I love Allen Robinson. I want him to go to a good team. If the Browns could manage to free themselves of OBJ's contract and bring in Allen Robinson's, they would have probably the best receiving / tight ends room in the NFL. I mean, they already have two of the best tight ends in the NFL, which one of them's probably going to leave, so it sucks, but whatever.
Rip, bring them over to New York, baby. I'm all for it.
The only thing I will say about it is this is kind of like the same thing that Browns had. The Browns fans were infatuated with Duke Johnson, and they never got used right for the Browns, and everyone was so mad when we traded him to the Texans, and it kind of showed that he could make plays, but he really wasn't that much to be giving away and wasn't that much to be thought of about it. So
right.
I don't know. All right.
So then for my Broncos, their main priority has to be working something out long-term with Simmons. I mean, he's a stud and he shouldn't be going anywhere. So you got to figure out something work there. For my quarterback, I also put Fitzpatrick because he's the perfect guy to bring in to compete with Drew Lock and maybe force him to play better or not. Because obviously Fitzpatrick's a much better quarterback than everyone gives him credit for, and he could throw for 400 yards any game with that offense. But if you wanted to go long-term and get rid of Drew Lock, going after Dak wouldn't be terrible. You can't count them out for the Watson sweepstake either. To fix their other safety problem, I also had Anthony Harris because even though he's a little bit older, he could still play very well, I think, with Justin Simmons. They complement each other very well. And then I actually had Patrick Peterson maybe going to the Broncos, potentially.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so why don't you go on to your Raiders? Right.
So I had 2 on here for defensive ends because I feel like that's a bigger need than filling both secondary holes. Because they do have a bunch of young draft capital invested in corners and I think a safety too. So
Eli Apple.
Is Eli Apple there?
It's either him or Gary and Conley. It's one of those guys.
I thought Eli Apple was with the Raiders, but then he went to the Saints. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I
don't even know.
Conley and Eli Apple got drafted way higher than they should have at Ohio State.
100%. So I didn't focus as much on the secondary, but if they wanted to pick up someone in the secondary that'll make an immediate impact, Keanu Neal from the Falcons. He's a little bit older. He fits their budget, by the way. I forgot to read off what their cap number is. But the Raiders currently sit with $6 million, almost $7 million in cap space. So better than the Chiefs, but not very good as they currently rank 21st.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say Keanu Neal should be a cheapish option to plug in. And then for the ends, again, you're looking kind of cheap because you're right up against the cap. So Quentin Dunbar and Ryan Kerrigan are both really, really old for the game, but they would be an immediate impact on the edge.
Yeah. For the Raiders, I only included high-profile signings because those are the only things the Raider makes.
That's true. That's very true. They'll blow all $7 million on someone this year.
Yeah, they're gonna give Von Miller like a 1-year deal worth $7 million probably. But I do have all big name players. I have Trent Williams, who they will not give money. They might, but like I said, they would sign him way too long, and that would be a good pickup. But whatever. They should sign Joe Tooney to improve the offensive line. They won't. And then Von Miller and Justin Simmons. Although I still really want. So explain. This is a new segment. Explain it to Justin. What does it mean? What does it mean when what does it mean when Justin Simmons is franchise tagged? Like no one else can sign him.
So the franchise tag is this thing that you could place on the player. It's a 1-year Shut up. It's a 1-year contract.
No, I was laughing. I was laughing at the banner. I forgot it was still up.
Oh, that's why I tried to. Yeah. You place it on the guy for a year. It's a 1-year contract, and you get the average of the top 5 salaries at your position. So in Justin Simmons' case, give me 1 second. Highest paid safeties in the league as of AZ Central. Kevin Bayard, Tyrann Mathieu, Landon Collins, Earl Thomas, and Rashad Jones.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
I just pulled up the first list I saw. I was just gonna.
Okay, I'm telling you what it is. It's Buda Baker, Eddie Jackson, Kevin Byard, Tyrann Mathieu, and Landon Collins.
I was just gonna pull up a list and just explain it from that because that was from 2019. But if you want this, fine. I'm not an idiot. I get what you're saying. Like they take the top 5 and they put their contracts together, and then they divide it by 5, and that's what you get. I understand. Okay. Well,
all you had to do was just say
that didn't know. Okay, I was gonna just explain it just because. But yeah, he gets the average of the top 5 for 1 year, and they could do it for up to 3 years. Now, if you were to ask me what the transition tag is, I think it's like restricted free agency for 2K, where you can match whatever.
That's what I thought franchise tag was. Yeah, I don't know.
Now that's a transition tag, I think.
So this would be the second year in a row they've franchised Simmons?
I think this would be 3 or second. Yeah, second of 3.
I think it's second. They could do it again next year.
They could do it one more time, and then he's allowed to walk. Which, can we just sit and talk about this before we move on? This is actually something that I've talked about with my father a lot. Look at NFL running backs, right? Running backs have a career shelf life of 5 or 6 years. It was in some thing that comes out every year.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
5 or 6 years. The teams that draft them in the first round get them for 5 years because you get 4 years on the deal and the 5th-year option. Second rounders are only 4 years, blah, blah, blah. If you're taking a running back, right, and you get him for, let's say, 5 years, because you're looking at a Leonard Fournette, a Saquon Barkley, someone drafted in the first round. You get him for 5 years, and then you get him for the next 3 years as they're on the decline because they're still really good, let's say. You're taking their entire career. Now, apply that for every position, right? It's sort of unfair, I feel, to the players for the contracts to last this long. Yes, you get the financial security for having all that, but if someone's trying to leave Justin Simmons because or Deshaun Watson, if they were to have done that and gone down that route, you're wasting his career. And he doesn't want to play there, but he's forced to. So I understand both sides of the coin, don't get me wrong, but I just think that it's always been very difficult to navigate with that.
No, I completely agree. It's just weird. It's weird because I agree with the financial security. It's what you should be wanting, but there are also there's people out there players out there in different sports. Up until this year, it was Trevor Bauer. He signed 1-year deals because but that again then puts a lot of pressure on you during that season.
Right.
So I understand both sides, like you said. But I mean, there's no real way. The only thing I kind of thought of when you were not explaining that, but just talking about it for a sec, I was thinking about the NFL draft, and I know there's got to be rules, but if Trevor Lawrence really didn't want to go to Jacksonville, and then before the draft, the Jets just signed him and didn't even draft him. I know there's rules against that, but wouldn't it be more fun if it wasn't? What if it was more like soccer? What if it was more like soccer?
Yeah, where everyone's just a free agent. Yeah.
Free agent. Or you have to pay this much for so the weird thing about soccer, you probably know this, but soccer players Cristiano Ronaldo, to buy him from Juventus right now, you would have to pay probably upwards of 100, 200 million to Juventus. And then on top of that, when he comes to that team, you have to give him what his wages are. So $550,000 a week.
Yeah, you got to buy him out and then pay him out.
Yeah, you have to you have to, and there's some players that when they're younger, like I'm sure when Cristiano was younger, like when Manchester United bought him from Porto, which is a Portuguese team, they bought him for relatively cheap because they like when a young player signs, they have like a clause in their contract that like if someone like were to offer them $40 million right away, then they can immediately like then
it's
they
like
can
the opposite of a no trade clause.
Yeah, exactly. Then players like once they meet the demand to be released, then they can start talking to the player about their wages and stuff. So it's just very different. But I have no idea why my head went there, thinking like there could be this like I don't know like mob or like under the table deals done in the NFL. I don't know, but I don't know why my mind went to that.
Anyway, where were we? Did I go over my? Did we just do the Raiders?
I
think I just did the Raiders. Did you do your Raiders? Okay.
Yeah.
So for the Chargers with their O-line stuff, I mean, they have a lot of money, probably because they're not paying an absurd amount for a quarterback. But the Chargers currently, where did they go? They're currently 10th with $31.5 million in cap space before the luxury tax kicks in. So they could go after literally anyone of Brandon Sheriff, Joe Thuney, Trent Williams, Corey Linsley, anyone they wanted to help try and protect Justin Herbert. For their cornerbacks, getting a guy like Brian Poole or Ronald Darby, I think, was it Ronald Darby? They're both relatively young, I think 29 and 26, with a lot of potential. Like their cornerbacks have been super thinned out ever since they traded out. What was his name? Desmond King. They traded him to the Titans midseason for like a fourth or something, and they've been missing out on a lot of depth at corner. So getting
go ahead.
Okay, getting some depth at the cornerback position and guys that can be there for 4 or 5 years would be very, very beneficial. I don't know if Brian Poole is a 4 or 5 year guy. He might be more of a 3 to 4 because he's 29, but still same thing. And then to address what?
Go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, to address the tight end position, I actually think bringing back Hunter Henry would be very good for them because he's a guy that can go and make plays and also is very good at blocking. But since he's going to be in such high demand and it's going to demand a big contract, you might want to look for a cheaper option, and that's where you bring in Mo Alley-Cox, Gigantor himself from the Colts. Dude is 6'8", and do you remember the run he had when he was the tight end 1 on the Colts this year?
I don't watch the Colts. I saw them lose to the Browns. That's all I need to know.
Mo Alley-Cox.
Hey, now that the Browns are good and they make the playoffs now, if you don't make the playoffs, you aren't a real NFL team to me. I'm just kidding. No, that's seriously how some Browns fans act now, though. They're like, oh, we're good now. So, like, the Panthers, losers.
That's insane to me. That's crazy.
Oh, you wait till New York's good again. New York is going to be – if New York ever goes through, like, something like half of good as what Tom Brady did, or even a quarter of good, you guys will be more insufferable than Boston people.
Yeah, but we're never going to top anyone from Philadelphia.
I like Philadelphia.
Why?
They're awesome. They're dirty. They're wrong. They're Browns fans. That's exactly what they are. It's Philly, the Browns, and Buffalo. We're the same. And then if the Jets weren't in New York, they would be with us. But they're in New York, so that sucks.
Yeah. Well, Mo Alley-Cox and Hunter Henry for tight end.
I think they should just bring back Hunter Henry. I have no idea why. I mean, I get like.
Well, they can't tag him, I don't think. And he has an injury history, but he's really good. So I think he's going to demand a really high contract, even for a hometown discount.
Okay. Who did I have? Chargers. Joe Thuney, Trent Williams. They could sign up a corner, Mackenzie Alexander, pretty cheaply. And then every time you say receiver, I just think, hey, Allen Robinson. I don't know.
Allen Robinson for everyone.
I don't know. Like I just can't wait to figure out where he's gonna go. Because that's what's so weird about it now. I feel like before free agency hit it, and like every other year, there were at least rumors coming out. It's been like, other than Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, because of that, it's been dead about free agency. Like I have had nothing to write about for the Browns for at least a week and a half.
Yeah, and I didn't even like know that people could start like agreeing to contracts, so you can't sign them. Like obviously we knew JJ Watt, that was the only like free agent that anyone's talked about. But like there have been another couple signings already that like I didn't even hear about. Not that they were like super huge name players, but like Tyrell Williams signed with the Lions apparently, the receiver.
Yeah, I remember that happened last week. Yeah, on our show.
I don't even remember it, honestly.
I didn't think free agency started yet, though.
So they're agreeing to contracts. They're not signing them.
This is my favorite part. Then it's legal tampering. It's great.
And Stephen Weatherly from Carolina, he signed a 1-year deal with Minnesota apparently. But like
he was behind Brian Burns, or sometimes played opposite him.
Something like that, yeah. But I mean, it's just. I agree. It's so dead right now because of all the trade talk. It's not even like fun.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been dead. Like I said, for Fleury, we had a conversation about the other day. Like there's just been nothing to write about. All I've been writing about is soccer, college basketball, and 1AA. So it's weird. So I don't think I sent you my article, or maybe I did. I don't know.
Yeah, you did. I read it.
But yeah, so there's going to be no combine this year. I thought this was a pretty interesting thing. Oh, no,
you sent me the Higgins one. Never mind.
Oh, God damn it. Did I?
Yeah.
Well, the Higgins one, that's pretty easy to think about. They need to resign Higgins before they
100%.
sign anybody else.
100%. I love Rashard Higgins.
I mean, he's good. He's above average and good. And not only that, why they need to resign Rashard Higgins, because I don't think they're going to extend Baker this year. So you need to find a way to keep him happy. And if you lose Rashard Higgins, that's his favorite target other than Jarvis Landry. So I just don't like that. But agreed. I wrote an article for Fleury. Basically, I was just like, so obviously with no combine this year, they'll have their pro days and they'll still be able to do that. But the combine, I basically broke it down into like 2 positions at the combine. They can see their stock rise incredibly at the combine. What positions do you think those are?
So you're saying there are 2 positions every year that people have the opportunity to.
Yeah, okay. Just because that position, a lot of what they have to do with it, speed, skill, things like that.
So number 1, I'm always going to think quarterback because you just hear these names that come out of nowhere. Like Josh Allen's stock when he was coming out flew after his combine. He was a top 10 pick. He was 7.
He was Mel Kiper. I don't know if you saw Mel Kiper released his highest rated quarterbacks ever, and actually Josh Allen was the highest from that draft.
Really?
Yeah, huh. He was 7th overall. Yeah. He also did have Ryan Leaf in there though. So
yikes. So yeah, but like quarterback 100% can increase their stock the most. And I guess wide receiver. I'm debating wide receiver or corner.
So I corner. I mean, I agree. Not as much as my other 2 positions. I think they are wide receiver and defensive end.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Because they get to show off their strength, they get to show off their speed. So a lot of guys, and like I wrote 3 guys that will be affected the most by the combine. And I obviously started out with 2 that would. And the weird thing about no combine, no one's stock is really going to change from now until the draft.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot more hidden gems found in the later rounds this year.
Yes, and so I wrote that for Carlos Basham, who is
oh my god, damn you! I was just going to bring him up. I love Carlos Basham, bro. He looks like an absolute animal.
I think he could have gone. Okay, so my 2 defensive ends that I had, I think Gregory Rousseau, who has a chance to go top 10 overall. I think he would have solidified himself in the top 10 with a good combine. And I think Basham, who looks more of like a later part of the first round, I bet he could have been top 14 if he had the combine.
Yeah.
And then now on the other side, I think not having the combine really, really, really helps Justin Fields. Because
it helps Justin Fields by not having it?
Yes, because
I very much agree. I just wanted to clarify.
Because he had injuries throughout the end of the college football season. So doctors are still going to have to clear him, so it doesn't matter really. But so if he was any sore or anything like that, he doesn't have to throw He'll throw at his pro day doing what he wants to do, and then he doesn't have to lift or run. So my big thing was coming out, like right now, for whatever reason, Zach Wilson's stock seems to be on the rise every day. Like
I don't know why.
It's incredible that I've seen Zach Wilson taken by the Jets in almost every mock I've seen so far.
Dude, and I hate that I have to write that because it's just such a stupid whatever.
And I think, firstly, I think Fields is a better prospect anyways, but I think without having the combine, and because I think Zach Wilson would have thrown, I don't know about the other parts of his game. I don't think he would have ran a good 40. I think he would have definitely run over like 5 and not even close to Justin Fields. But I think he would have had an excellent throwing session because, I mean, he is gifted. He's like Brett Favre. He's a gunslinger. He's gifted like that.
Right.
But so I think coming into the draft with no combine, I think Justin Fields is eventually going to be the higher rated quarterback going into the draft. Not that I know if that will change anything, because whatever reason the Jets seem to be I'll just let you explain. Why are they locked in on Zach Wilson? It started like, I don't know, a month ago, and then I think like Mel Kiper had them taking Wilson, and now everyone everywhere I see is Wilson.
Right. So a lot of people are just falling in love with his physical abilities, that everyone looks at his highlights. I've seen the same like 10 throws for like you said, a month now. And like, yeah, he had some good throws, but they don't ever show the bad stuff. That's part of the reason it's a highlight reel, you know? Yeah. So, but like, I do say like, he does look like he's physically gifted. He does look like he could potentially turn into something good. But the reason that everyone's locked in on him to the Jets is, number one, Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh apparently want their own guy. Not apparently want, but like everyone's hypothesizing that they're going to want their own guy and they're going to move on from Sam Darnold. So they're going to make their quarterback pick together. And number two, everyone's saying that his personality fits New York, and he has the personality to stand up and thrive in New York. So like, because New York's a big market, it's you're going to get a lot of hate. You're going to get a lot of love. Everyone's saying that Wilson has the personality to succeed and become like a darling, basically opposite of Daniel Jones.
I may have said this earlier. I think I probably did. And while I understand a little bit that he might be able to handle it, I think he would probably handle New York better than a lot of people because he came from BYU. I mean, He just has to mind his own business, basically. How are you the quarterback on your Division I football team and you're not a captain?
Yeah, no, you've mentioned that before, and I don't
like. I've thought about it for a while, like a young guy. Like I don't know, but like I don't know how you're a quarterback on the BYU football team without being captain. So I think that says way more about his personality than anything else. And I get
went to his birthday party.
Yeah, it's the same as Giraffe Day or whatever that movie. Yeah, exactly. Like so I mean, to me, that stands out way more than it's obviously funny, but when someone brought it up, I was like, that's very weird that he wasn't a captain.
Yeah. So nobody went to his birthday party and everyone's butthurt about it.
All right. So I'll do my top 5 right now. And then
wait, top 5 what?
Draft picks.
Right.
Okay. So we just talked about this, but
so wait, I'm sorry. We're doing our top 5 like
1, 2, 3,
Jacksonville
4, 5.
Jets. Okay, not prospect rankings. Okay.
No. So even though the first would probably be the same, I think Lawrence will go to Jacksonville. Okay. And like I said, I would love to put Justin Fields at number 2 for the Jets, or Sewell or Devonta Smith. But I'm somewhat of a journalist, and like everything I've seen, I can't just ignore it. So I am
having the same issue, and I was fucking peer pressured into it, man. I have Wilson going too, and I hate it. I absolutely despise it.
So I have Lawrence 1, Wilson 2, and I have 3. I have Devonta Smith. Because I either think that the Dolphins keep this pick. This is if the Dolphins keep this pick. I think they'll take Devonta Smith or Jamar Chase. But right now, I think Devonta Smith's trending, and he was an Alabama guy with Tua. So, but like I said, if Wilson gets take second, the Dolphins are going to have a lot of people calling them at 3. And then I have Justin Fields going 4 because I would be shocked if Justin Fields falls out of the top 5. And then I know when we did our first mock draft on here, I was like, I only put Sewell to go to the Bengals because it's just like a dream scenario. And now it's becoming more and more realistic because I don't think if the Jets don't take him and the Dolphins don't take him,
Atlanta's not taking him. Yeah.
And he could even fall farther. I don't know. Maybe, Rashawn Slater is they have their pro day this week. So So what's your top 5?
I went Sewell at 3 because we have the same top 2. Like I said, I absolutely despise the fact that Zach Wilson is going to. But yeah, I have Sewell going 3 because, again, this is if Miami keeps it. I understand wanting to get weapons for Tua, but I think that protecting him and protecting his weak side, which, by the way, you got to remember, Tua's a lefty. So his blind side is the right side, which Penei Sewell is, as we've discussed on here, starting to look more and more like a right tackle. That would actually be a dream fit, I think, for the Dolphins. So that's why I got him going Sewell. Justin Fields 4 to Atlanta, and then Jamar Chase to the Bengals. Because
I just have I don't think the Dolphins are going to take a quarterback at 3, and I think there's going to be a billion people trading up for it. So I would not be surprised if it goes Lawrence, Fields or Wilson, and then 4 Lance to the Falcons.
Like I said, I haven't done any of the writing, but I went through 1 through 32 and did my mock draft.
Go ahead.
Can you guess where I have Trey Lance going?
No, that's too early. I think he's going to go top 10, but I don't think that you would have put him there. But Panthers.
I have him at the Panthers at 8.
Yeah.
I absolutely despise it too, because again, I hate everything about Trey Lance because again, it's the same 5 throws. One of them is versus Butler.
It's very weird because. It's very weird for Wilson and Lance to be in the same draft class because they both have literally 15 games of tape, and that's just not enough. That's not enough for you to be
here. We are talking about them both going top 8
because they will. I just said that. There has been, and I am way down on Lance. I get to watch him at his pro day online, but the one game he played in the fall for his little showcase. Bro, you should probably do better you should do better than throwing 15 for 30 and then throwing your only interception of your entire career. So the taste that's in everyone's mouth should not be very good on Trey Lance right now.
I hate Trey Lance. I really wanted to put him further down, but when I was doing it, I'm like, if I don't have him go here at 8, he's going to the Patriots. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Yeah, and like I said, I would not be surprised as the draft draws closer. I would not be surprised if we start hearing things about almost definitely 5 going in the top 10, and then even Trask moving up to in the top 20.
I think Trask will move up. This is my mock 2.0. I'm assuming I'm going to do a 3rd. By the 3rd, because I don't have him in here. By the 3rd, I almost guarantee that Trask will be in my top 32.
Yeah, it's just and like I've said before, because I'm a Browns fan, I'm sure you said it before too. It's not the worst plan in the world because we understand that quarterback is the most important position. So it's definitely not the worst plan if you're in the top 15 everywhere to take a quarterback, but it's not the most beneficial or it's not the right way to go about it, I would say. But
yeah, I hate reaching for positional need. I'm a very big person of take best available on the board type of person. I know we've had this discussion too, but there's 2 types of philosophies. There's draft by position or draft best available. I am very big into the best available. That's how the Giants ended up with Lawrence Taylor. But
I agree. I like that. So that's pretty much for us today. So we'll get into our trivia questions for baseball. You go ahead first.
All right. So this is going to be, it's called a decade in the box. It's 2000s baseball, like from 2000 to 2009. Who hit
Okay.
the most home runs for the decade? It was Albert Pujols, Alex Rodriguez, Andrew Jones, or Ryan Howard.
Who's the first one you said?
There's Albert Pujols, Alex Rodriguez, Ryan
Can you say
Howard,
his-
or Andrew Jones.
Can you say his name again?
Albert Pujols.
Pujols. That's how you say his name.
Pujols.
It was I'm shocked it's not Barry Bonds. Ryan Howard.
It was Alex Rodriguez because Ryan Howard only played for 6 seasons, whereas
I was going to
Rodriguez,
say, that makes sense because I know Ryan Howard had like 2 good seasons and flamed out, but
yeah,
okay.
A-Rod.
All right. So here we go. Who was the first major league player to have his number retired? Was it A, Lou Gehrig, B, Babe Ruth, C, George Kelly, or D, Charlie Robertson?
George Kelly.
That's incorrect. The Yankees retired Lou Gehrig's number 4 on July 4th, 1939, and is now famous because that's when they did it with the famous Lou Gehrig speech. So.
Yeah, I felt like it was Gehrig, but that was one of those questions where it's like you don't want to go with the obvious guy. You know what I mean?
I understand. Okay, your last one.
Which manager tasted victory the most games in the regular season during the decade? Is it A, Joe Torre, B, Terry LaFranca or Francona?
Terry Francona.
Francona, great.
He's the Indians pit coach.
I don't listen to MLB, so I don't hear how to say their names, and I'm dyslexic, so I mess up names a lot. Tony La Russa or Lou Piniella?
Okay, it wasn't Lou Piniella. Francona.
It was actually Joe Torre with the Yankees.
Torre.
Joe Torre. What? No.
Torre. Torre is yes. Torre is Toure. It's African. Okay, you're wrong. Okay,
you're wrong.
Last one. What player was nicknamed Mr. November?
Oh, Reggie Jackson.
Correct.
I did know that one.
Yes, I was going to give you multiple choice, but I was like, okay, I'll do this one. All right,
Yeah,
so
no.
that'll do it for us. Like we said, Tom's got his. We got what's his name?
Mitch Loati.
All I need is Mitch. Mitch is coming on Thursday. We'll figure out the time, and we'll make sure we have good questions. I will task you with coming up with questions this time. It is your guest, so
great. I'm all for it.
And then
I'm just gonna let you know now. It's going to be an absolute meme show next week because he's not. I already told him it's going to be very lax and everything, and he's a very informal person just in general. So like he's going to be making jokes, and he's going to be it's going to be an absolute meme show. It's going to be so much fun.
Awesome. I mean, how's it gonna be a meme show? Do I have to upload a lot of memes or something?
No. Just like it's going to be funny. It's going to be all jokes. Like it's not going to be very serious like today's one.
Yes, it was very serious, except for when she talked about Tom Brady, and we were just sad and crushed. And then North Dakota running back, like I said, I just messaged him today, so he should be coming on. Luke Skokna should be coming on sometime next week, and then, like I said in the beginning, I don't know if Kurt's going to come on here or we'll start our own. We'll figure it out. And other than that, I was not tired at the end. I'm tired now, and you look more awake than you were at the beginning. So it looks like we switched spaces.
No, bro. I'm at the point where I'm so tired. All you can do is laugh.
Yeah. All right. So that'll do it for us. We'd like to say thank you to Jennifer for coming on. Like I said, I'm sure we'll have her on in the future. You can follow her on Twitter at Jen L Cobb 3 JENLCOBB3. And you can go to teamgateway2acure.org to donate or get involved. It's a very good cause. So I suggest it, and hopefully she'll be on in the future, and we'll get something set up for it. So, but other than that, you got anything else, Tom?
Go Dogs, baby. Not making the tournament. Let's go.